Hi everybody and welcome to the second match in my Onepagerules and Warcry tournament, where I try to combine the Grimdark Future rules with the deployment, squad creation and missions of Warcry. You can check out the rules in the description or watch the first episode of the tournament. But now let's go to the squads of this battle. First up, the Battle Sisters. Leader and hero of the squad is the High Sister with a tough value of 3. She's armed with heavy rifle and energy swords. Then we have 3 Battle Sisters, all armed with heavy rifle. We have 1 Battle Sister armed with heavy machine gun. And then finally a Vanguard Sister armed with flamethrower. They all have the Devout ability that gives them +1 to hit when shooting when they are within 6 inches. Next up, the Soul-Snatcher cults. They have a cult leader in charge with pistol and close combat weapons. Then we have 2 neophytes with grenade launchers with the blast ability, 1 neophyte with shotgun, and then 2 Soul-Snatchers with piercing claws. And they are fast, and they also have the Strider ability. And the Soul-Snatcher cults have divided themselves into these battle groups with the cult leader and the neophyte as the shields, and then the 2 Soul-Snatchers and the 2 remaining neophytes as daggers and hammers. The Battle Sisters have the High Sister and the Vanguard Sister as shields, 2 regular Battle Sisters as daggers, and 1 Battle Sister and 1 with heavy machine gun as the hammers. So let's roll off for the first time to see who will be the attacker and who will be the defender. Red dice for the Soul-Snatcher cults and black dice for the Battle Sisters. A 4 for the Soul-Snatchers and a 1 for the Battle Sisters. So the Soul-Snatcher cults will decide and they choose to be the attackers. Stop, let's proceed to the battle plan. We have the 3 different cards for terrain, deployment, and the victory conditions. Now, randomly 1 card from each deck will be drawn, and this is how the terrain will be set up. Next up, the deployment. And this is the show of strength deployment. Finally, the victory conditions, but we will keep them secret for just a little while. So with the guidance of the terrain card here, the battlefield should look something like this. And with the battlefield ready, now it's time for deployment. The 2 sides will roll off again, and the winner will pick the red or the blue deployment. And once again, the Soul-Snatcher cults win the roll-off, and they decide to pick the red deployment. In this case, all the battle groups will begin on the battlefield. Here the daggers, then the shields, and on the right side of the battlefield here, the hammers. And of course that means the Battle Sisters have the blue deployment, and in this case they deploy opposite the Soul-Snatchers in exactly the same way, with the daggers here, and the shields in the corner, and the hammers closer to the middle of the battlefield. And with the forces deployed, we will reveal the victory conditions. And this is the raid. And in this case, the Battle Sisters as the defenders will deploy 6 objectives on the battlefield, more than 4 inches from any other objectives and the battlefield edge. And then it's up to the Soul-Snatcher cults to burn 3 objectives. And if they do so, they win. But if they don't before the end of the 3rd battle round, the Battle Sisters will win. And here we have the 6 objectives on the battlefield. Objective 1 here on the top of the building will be very difficult to reach for the Soul-Snatcher cults. Then we have objective 2 and 3 here on the left side of the battlefield, 4 and 5 more to the right, and the final objective 6, which is pretty close to the nearest Soul-Snatcher cults. Final roll-off, who will begin the first activation, and finally the Battle Sisters win a roll-off, and they will activate first in round number 1. And remember, this is the kitchen table rules, so all distances, movement and shooting will be cut in half. So first up, this Battle Sister activates, she advances 3 inches, and then she has the Soul-Snatcher here in her range of 12 inches of shooting. She will hit on a 4, and that's a failed shot. So the initiative goes to the Soul-Snatcher cults now, and the neophyte with the grenade launcher advances 3 inches, and he fires his grenade launcher at the Battle Sister. He ignores any cover because of the blast ability, and he is within his range of 12 inches. He will hit on a 4. Not this time. The Battle Sister with the machine gun activates next. She guards objective 3 and she fires her heavy machine gun against the Soul-Snatcher. The Soul-Snatcher is in cover, so she will need a 5 to hit. She has 3 shots. And she fails all of them. She fires her machine gun wildly, but nothing hits the target. The neophyte with the shotgun activates, and he rushes full 6 inches and captures objective number 6. He has a short shooting range with his shotgun, so he can't shoot anybody. Next up, the Vanguard Sister with the heavy flamer, and she captures objective number 2, where she will guard it. The Soul-Snatchers have to be aggressive. They have to burn the objective, so the cult leader here crawls out of his cover, and he rushes behind the crates in the middle of the battlefield, close to objective 4. Next, Battle Sister activates, and she moves slightly to the right, because from here she will have a clear shot at the neophyte with the grenade launcher. So she will need a 4 to hit. And she hits nothing. The second neophyte with grenade launcher rushes down from the building and behind the cover. He cannot reach anybody with his grenade launcher. And then the High Sister also activates and moves, and she is also armed with heavy rifle, but with nothing in shooting range. And then we have the first Soul-Snatcher. It creeps closer and might be able to charge in the next round. Then this Battle Sister activates and advances into an exposed position, but from here she will be able to take 1 shot at the shotgun-armed neophyte, possibly removing him from objective 6. She will need a 4. And she also fails. Really bad shooting here in the first round by the Battle Sisters. And final activation of the first round is this Soul-Snatcher. It moves closer but stays behind the wall very close to objective 5. And that will be the end of the first round with a lot of strategic movement and bad shooting. But one neophyte controls objective number 6, and that means he's now able to destroy it and remove it from the battlefield. So 1 out of 3 objectives destroyed. Let's go to round number 2. The Battle Sisters finished first, and they will also activate first here in the second round. So the machine gun armed Battle Sister advances. She's still close to the objective, but she can take her revenge at the neophyte with the shotgun. She will need 4s to hit with her heavy machine gun, and she makes 2 hits. AP1, the neophyte, will need 6s to defend, and he fails both defense rolls, so he takes 2 wounds, and he will go down and roll on the wound chart to see if he is stunned or even worse. At 2, he is stunned. And now the fast Soul-Snatcher crawls out of his cover and charges the Battle Sister with 3 piercing claws attack. hitting on 3s, and they all hit. They are AP 1, and she will need 5s to defend, so one of them is defended, but the other 2 will go through, and that means she takes 2 wounds, and she's not able to fight back or anything, but she will have to roll on the wound chart. And with 2 wounds, that's a risky business. And exactly, 5 and she is out. First casualty of this battle. Next up, this battle sister will move close to objective 4 and guard it, but she is also able to take a shot at the neophyte with the grenade launcher, still needing a 4 to hit. One shot with her heavy rifle. And finally, a solid hit here, and this is also an AP1 weapon, and that means a 6 up save, and with a 5, still a good roll, but not enough. The neophyte goes down with 1 wound. And this could be the Soul-Snatcher's first casualty. We will see. And the roll on the wound chart is a 3, so he is only stunned. But the battle sister here is exposed, and the other neophyte with grenade launcher will try to take advantage of that. So he will fire his grenade launcher, hitting on a 4. A clear hit. The grenade launcher has the blast ability, but she will still only be able to be hit with 1 hit, and she will need a 4 to defend, and well, she is certainly safe here with a roll of 6. Her armor protected her this time. The next activation is the Vanguard sister with the flamethrower. She advances 3 inches, and now she is within 6 inches of this Soul-Snatcher. And that means she can fire her flamethrower hitting on a 4. And with the devout ability, she will actually be able to hit, also with a roll of 3. And that is a really solid roll here. The Soul-Snatcher has a defense value of 4, and it's AP nothing, but still 6 hits. So let's see if he's able to defend any of these hits. 6 rolls, and well, he tried, but it was not enough. 3 hits in the end, and he will go down with 3 wounds. And that will be more than difficult for him to withstand when he rolls on the wound chart. But let's see. And with a roll of 3, that is just too much. He is burned out of the battle by the Vanguard battle sister. The neophyte that was stunned earlier in this round activates, and he gets back into the game, but he cannot do anything else. And then the High Sister activates. She advances 3 inches, and from this position in cover behind the crates, she is within 6 inches of the stunned neophyte with the shotgun. And that means with her devout ability, she will be able to fire her heavy rifle and hit with a roll of 3. And she hits, and immediately takes the stunned neophyte out of the game. The cult leader moves slightly forward, still in cover, but he can take a clear shot at the battle sister with his pistol. He will need a 4 to hit. And he fails. The battle sister will still be guarding objective 4. Now this battle sister has a tough choice. She could try to move closer and guard the objective. She could fire at the neophyte because he's not in cover. And she could also try to remove the Soul-Snatcher because it will be able to reach and destroy objective 5. So she decides for what could be a game-winning move. She advances slightly, and from here she will take a shot at the Soul-Snatcher. And if she takes him out, he will not be able to reach the objective. She will need a 5 because he's in cover, and she hits. So now this could be fatal for the Soul-Snatcher cults. The Soul-Snatcher with the AP1 value of the rifle will have to come up with a 5. And it's a 6. Incredible. She hit the Soul-Snatcher, but it was able to withstand and is now unharmed. And of course, immediately the Soul-Snatcher activates and claims the objective. And since this was the last activation of round 2, the Soul-Snatcher will be able to destroy objective 5. So now the Soul-Snatcher cults have destroyed 2 objectives. Still one to go though, and this is how the battlefield looks at the end of round 2. There are several Soul-Snatchers able to reach objectives still, but the Battle Sisters will activate first in round number 3. Nothing is yet decided. And first priority of the Battle Sisters will be to remove this Soul-Snatcher because it's fast and can reach an objective. So a close hit, point blank range, hitting on a 3. And it's a 5, so the Soul-Snatchers hit. And again, the defense roll will be 5 to avoid being wounded. And this time, not enough. The Soul-Snatcher is shot down at point-blank range with 1 wound. It goes down, and the roll on the wound chart, it's a 4, close, but not enough to be knocked out. The Soul-Snatcher is stunned. But now some of the Battle Sisters are simply too close together, so the grenade launcher Neophyte here will fire his rocket at these 2 Battle Sisters, and he will be able to hit them both. He needs a 4, and that's a hit. So he fires his grenade launcher at one of the Battle Sisters, and the other will be hit by the blast effect. So let's begin with the High Sister. She will need a defense roll of 4, and she is not able to withstand the blast. So she takes 1 wound. And then the other, also a roll of 4. And she also fails. And she only has 1 wound. So she will go down and possibly be taken out. Let's see the roll on the wound chart. It's a 5, so she is blasted out by the grenade launcher. A fatal hit here from the Neophyte. Things are heating up now, and the High Sister charges in to attack the cult leader with 2 attacks, hitting on 4s with her energy sword. And 1 hit, it's an AP1 weapon, so the cult leader will need a 6. And he fails, so 1 wound to the cult leader. He will now be able to fight back. 2 attacks, hitting on 4s. He decides not to fight back though. He has another plan. Instead, he charges the Battle Sister at objective 4. And if he can take her out, he will now claim the objective. 2 attacks, hitting on 4s. And he makes them both. This could be really, really bad for the Battle Sisters. It's AP nothing, so the Battle Sister will save the attacks with rolls of 4s as well. And incredibly, she blocks both the close combat attacks from the cult leader, and she will now be able to fight back. She will hit with a 4, and she hits. Still AP nothing, the cult leader will need a 5. And he fails, so he takes his 2nd wound. But they now both claim the objective, and, well, that means he will not be able to destroy it unless the Battle Sister is removed. The tough Battle Sister who just fought the cult leader now activates. She moves slightly but she makes sure she is still close to the objective. And she won't be able to move within 6 inches of the neophyte, but she still takes a shot, hitting on a 4. It's a hit. She could take the neophyte down. He will need a 6 to block the shot. And he already has 1 wound. And he fails. So that means 2 wounds now. And that could be the end of this neophyte. 2 wounds, he has to roll a 3 or less on the wound chart. It's a 4. He is out. And that means things are looking pretty bad for the Soul-Snatcher cults now, because they don't have any forces left to activate besides this Soul-Snatcher, and all he can do is to get back on his feet, and that's it. But the Battle Sisters are eager to finish this completely, so the Vanguard Sister with the flamethrower moves close to the cult leader, and he now tastes her flamethrower. And she will hit with 3s or more. And 4 hits will now toast the cult leader. It's AP nothing, but he will still need defense rolls of 5 to block. And he blocks 2 of the flaming hits, but 2 of them still hit, and that means he goes down with 3 wounds. And that means he is no longer able to contest the objective, even though he's just stunned. We will see what happens to him. A roll of 3, so he is stunned, but he will not be able to do anything, and the Soul-Snatcher cults have nothing left to do. They managed to destroy 2 objectives, but the determined and strategic approach of the Battle Sisters proved to be just too much. They are victorious here at the end of round number 3. So the Battle Sisters will proceed from the first round of the tournament and into the second round. And they will meet the winners of the first battle in this tournament. Check out that episode if you haven't done so already, and see who the Battle Sisters will face in the second round of the tournament. Thanks a lot for watching this battle report. I hope you'll join me for future bat reps, and feel free to ask questions in the comments about this Onepagerules Warcry hybrid.